Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by Josh of 95Visual. How's it going, Josh?
Going pretty good.
Awesome. So, Josh, I'd love to just start this off by learning a little bit more about your background and a little bit more about 95 Visual.
Yeah, so we're a full service digital marketing agency. All of our skill sets are in-house team. And for us, what's a little bit different in some of the agency space is a lot of it is outsourced fulfillment. And so for us, we're able to control sort of the end-to-end process and all of that, able to ensure quality control and our team as well on that. I got into the space about 18 years ago, was working for a company, and they had hired an agency who sadly we hear too many stories of where a timeline wasn't met and all of a sudden it was the 11th hour and things needed to get done. And I was working at this company and said, "Hey, I'll try to see if I can get that done over the weekend. Hopefully it'll be good for Monday."
Yeah.
And fast forward a few months, and all of a sudden I had a list of clients from referrals of other businesses who had used similar type agencies. And that doesn't mean that obviously there's a lot of great agencies in the space. There are some who come into the space and go, digital marketing's easy. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you get in the trenches. And when you're on the outside, 10,000 foot level, a lot of industries look easy. And as soon as you get into it, you're like, oh, it doesn't take anything to sell a house or to do this or to do that. But you get into the trenches of it, and all of a sudden you start to realize, no, there's actually a lot of groundwork, like legwork here and stuff that needs to be done.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So, what types of clients do you guys serve typically?
Yeah. A lot of our clients are home service and sort of small to medium businesses. That's our primary focus. We have a handful of clients that are also sit outside of that. We've done some university work. We've done some other government contract type work as well. And so it's all over the place.
Yeah. Wow. That's what you got. What got you guys into like home services as a primary kind of thing?
Yeah. So for us, it was looking at really the tangible result aspect. So there are companies who need marketing, but in reality, like their marketing department is bigger than our company.
Yeah.
And we've done some subcontracted type work for companies that have a giant marketing department. And we've done SEO or done other marketing strategy services for them, and that's fine. But when you're able to come into a business and say, hey, you've been in business 10 years,
Hmm.
nothing's been predictable. Let's set up some marketing funnels. Let's set up the correct sales process. Let's set up some marketing automation, move you from your Google spreadsheet that is managing all your customers into an actual CRM. Those types of elements really start to shift the metric of the business. And then you're able to literally watch that business grow. And I'm physically North Los Angeles. Our team is now fairly decentralized over the Southern California area. Most of our team is in the Southern California area, but we're decentralized as well. And so for us to be able to see businesses that are in our backyard type situation locally go from a small business to doubling or tripling their workforce, that's cool results to see.
Yeah, and it's so cool with home service businesses because I was actually a marketing director for a construction or home custom home builder who also did a lot of remodeling. And a lot of these companies are coming from like just really bad Angie's List leads. And so there's a great little it sucks for the company that's coming from that because those leads are just not great. They're not what these guys were promised. But for a good marketing agency to come in and say, "Hey, I know what you've dealt with here, and here's exactly how we solve it," that's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. A few different local businesses that the owners will like text me. They're like, hey, check out this website. This company called me and wanted to sell me X service today. And one of them recently they're like, oh yeah, we guarantee first page ranking for SEO. And I was like, okay, guarantee your money back. Sounds great. They build 200 microsites
Oh my God.
all on separate domain names, all keyword targeted at that service in the city name. And I was like, yeah, well, I guess if you just flood the market with duplicate content and one of them's bound to hit the first
Right.
position.
That's
It's
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
geez. It's the old school. Google Maps used to allow agency owners to upload a spreadsheet of business listings. They don't anymore because that got super abused in 2020, 2021. But there's a handful of businesses that I know of locally that got hit with people saying, oh, yeah, we can 10x your visibility on Google. And all they would do is they would just buy a PO box at a dozen different locations across the city and then add a dozen map listings across the city. Now, that poor brick and mortar pizza shop or whatever the business is, all of a sudden has 13 locations in the city.
Yeah.
And, or if it's let's say it's a barber and you're going to go get your hair cut and you just like Google, you're like, they have 13 locations. Which one am I driving to? I'm going to drive to the one that's closest to me. And so
Right.
you show up and it's a mail and more store and you're like, this isn't a barber shop. And so now it's find the needle in the haystack, which means you're frustrated. So you're going to leave a bad review. And that's just, there's so much of that silliness in the industry that people like, let's take the shortcut.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. And it was this thing, right, where starting an agency was the hot thing to do for a while. I think 2016, 2017, people were like, oh my gosh, I can just get in, start an agency, barely cost any money to get started, and I can just get clients and I can maybe outsource the work to somebody or whatever it is.
still, it's, I would say it still is a little bit. I see every now and then like an ad pop up on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and they're like, yeah, for $800, it's an agency in a box, and
Yeah.
you spend $800 and we give you the website, the systems, everything. Then we like you source and like you hire our VAs and then our fulfillment team does it. And then all you have to do is run the ads and close the deals. And it's that's not an agency, that's an outsourced salesperson that's under a different branding. So that way, that agency who's actually doing all the fulfillment on the back end doesn't really have to do a great job because if they do subpar work, it's not their name, so they don't care.
Yeah.
It's just, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, yeah, you're seeing a lot of these agency in the boxes. And then the hot thing, I think, is even shifted a little bit now to, hey, you should start an agency that gets leads for agencies. And so all these lead gen companies are getting started. And it's just like this cycle that's happening or that we see happening. You go from agency to, okay, that didn't really work out. Let me do the lead gen agency that, and then who knows what's next, right? Maybe the lead gen agency
Yeah.
for the lead gen agency. Who knows, right?
I
um,
get, I get 2 to 3 emails a week from the lead gen agency, like different ones. I get so many inbound messages on LinkedIn. Literally half my LinkedIn inbox is just lead agencies saying, we're going to help get you clients. And as soon as I pose the question, I've entertained a few of them of, okay, great. What does that look like? And they're like, oh, we give you the system and then you set it up and do all the work. And I'm like, you're not doing anything. All you're giving me is a Google Doc with go set up, go buy these leads off this website and then set up a cold email outreach and just spam the crap out of 30,000 businesses and hope that one of them actually says yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the next part of the cycle. These lead gen agencies. I come from actually a larger lead gen agency. That was one of my last roles. And now it was a service. Like your agency is a service for businesses. And now it's turning into this exactly like you're saying, this one off here, pay us one time and here's the system, go implement it. And now people are trying to do this turn and burn. So all this stuff is really interesting. And I think, Josh, you have started 95Visual because you saw a need for a marketing company that told it like it is. So I'm curious, what does that philosophy look like in action when you're working with clients?
Yeah, we've had everything from there was a company that approached us and said, hey, we're a brick and mortar. This is what we're doing. And we need to do a new website. I was like, great. What's the 5-year business plan? And the owner goes, oh, I'll be retired. I was like, okay, are you selling the business? He goes,
Yeah.
probably not. He's like, not, it's a building that I
Mhm.
rent and there's not a ton to really sell. So I'll probably just spin it down. I was like, okay, what's the 2 year business plan? He's probably winding down for retirement. I was like, why are you, okay, if your phone started ringing today, right now, if we
Yeah.
started running ads, if you're ranking number one on Google, like whatever that situation is, if you were getting new clients today, how many new clients a week could you take on? And he goes, oh, I'm pretty much at 90% capacity, like with our existing repeat clients right now. And he's like, I really can't take on a ton. And if I'm looking to wind down the business, like I probably don't want to. It's like,
Yeah.
then why are you calling me?
Right.
And so he said, my current web company that I had build my website 8 years ago is closing their doors, and it's built on like their in-house platform, and it was built on, I don't know, an outdated platform, and basically we needed to rebuild the website. So, cool. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take your domain name and point it to your Facebook page
Mm.
and say, call us if you need an appointment. And that's it.
Yeah.
Done. And so for me, could we have sold a website? Absolutely. Would this business have, I could have proposed a website. We could have proposed anything from a one-page landing page to let's go all out and build out services and your staff and reviews and do all of that and sell them on 20, $30,000 of something. But in reality, like, yeah, that puts money in the bank today, but that's not the type of relationships that I want to have with business owners. I would rather have that business owner pay us for an hour of consulting and then refer
Yeah.
other businesses to us,
Yeah.
because those types of relationships and those types of elements for me are so much more valuable, because I'm looking at where is my business in 5 years, in 10 years, and so many sort of overnight agencies are looking at how do I make money right now, and how can I put 20 to $30,000 in my pocket this month,
Yeah.
not how can I make sure that I'm still in business 5 years from now. And sometimes that means not selling a product,
Yeah.
not pushing something that we don't believe in.
Yeah. Totally.
I've had sales guys just doing networking and outreach stuff in the past, and I've always said mission before commission.
Mm.
If you sell something that we don't believe in, or you sell something that business owner does not need, and you can't explain to me or our team why that's a really good business decision, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. I love that approach. And it's so refreshing, especially exactly like you're saying, with a lot of people just relying on the next client. Josh, this has been amazing. Where can people learn more about you, and where can people learn more about your agency?
Yeah. So our agency is 95Visual, so 95visual.com. We're relatively active on social media. I'm trying to be more. It's one of those darn challenges of the industry. There's parts of it where I love marketing, but then I just hate marketing on both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm semi-active on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. If you Google search me, that's not me. I am alive. There's a Joshua Maddux who's dead and is all over Google.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a good deep dive for you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much again for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.